Hey guys, special request today from a viewer. They ordered a Maggard V3A. V3 is their version 3 of the head that they've carried for a while. You'll see this shape in some different makers because Maggard doesn't make, I'm sure, this head for themselves. They make it, they purchase it, from somebody, and you'll see this same head maybe on some Yaqui razors, Yaqi. And this is a very common design with two rails here, and that's where the bottom of the blade is supported. And then, of course, the top cap holds down the top of the blade. So you can see there's a little bit of a difference between how close the top cap gets to the edge and how close the bottom does. Sometimes this means that you'll get a little bit more chatter. Some people like that, some people don't, but it's just the way it is. I've shaved with it. It's a nice little thing, and since I got a request, I'm gonna shave with it again. This is the darker of the two, I think they have the chrome finish, and this is the gray finish. And it's not stainless steel or any high premium grade head. And so just give it a good pat dry and stuff, maybe after each shave, maybe after every couple of shaves, and that way it'll last you a good long time. If you do drop it in the shower because it's not stainless or brass or something hefty, this post could possibly break off. Now this is a Maggard's handle here. You can see by their little symbol. This is the one that looks like the Weber Bulldog handle, and I think it's the MR11 maybe. I can't remember for sure. But it's a great handle that works with a lot visually as well as in other respects. All right, so I've only had a chance to soak this for a minute maybe, and I wish I would have remembered to do it for a little bit more. And so maybe I'll do a load time of about 45 seconds with this soft brush and see if that will give me enough soap. Pre-soaking your hard soaps like this can definitely shorten your load time and not really affect the lather in a negative way at all. All right, so 45 seconds. 30 is going to roll around there. All right. And any soap that's in a tin like this, watch it to make sure that it doesn't rotate, because that can kind of invalidate the agitating action. And instead of your brush tips moving across the soap, the soap follows them, and that can basically mean you're not loading soap. And that happened to me yesterday with my Clar, so what I had to do was squeeze the tin. Not a big amount of pressure here on the soap is what I usually do. Could be that 30 seconds is all I need to do, but I'm just kind of wanting to make sure I cover my bases here. Just another 5 seconds. And there we go. If you come at it with more water in your brush, then you're going to end up with kind of more of a mess overflowing on your hands and stuff, but it's really not a big deal. And I like to hold it upside down and kind of rinse off the sides of the soap so that they don't get all soapy and clog up the threads. Don't want those lids to lock themselves on. All right, so here's my Roger Quintero designed lather bowl. It's a 3D printed bowl, which is pretty cool. Got this nice brush rest. And if you have a 3D printer or access to one, check out the link to the files in my video description. So right now we're just, I'm mixing. I like to mix for a little bit just to watch the lather. I haven't added any water yet. Just what was in the brush is all that's in there. And I like to just watch it come together and see how it acts. If you have used this soap base before or have notes, then obviously you can know whether you can just go ahead and add a bunch of water right away, or There are a few soaps where you might need to add water more slowly. I do have hard water at this location, and I use cool water for my shaves. And so all my soaps are definitely hard water tolerant. Sometimes it just means that you add a little bit more soap. There are a few soaps where I remember I got a better lather by putting a little bit of distilled water in the mix. But to be honest, I probably just needed more practice lathering back then. And so the distilled water may have helped a little bit, but I've quit doing that. And I haven't really noticed any soaps that don't give me any good soaps that don't give me great lather. So I've put 2 teaspoons in the bowl right now. I put a little bit of water. I couldn't help but adding some of that bloom water into this, and maybe it was half a teaspoon. Can't remember how I need to bring up this lather, whether I can let it get really elastic and stringy, or whether this particular one likes to be mixed a little drier than that. Sometimes when I'm mixing in the bowl, I press a little bit and get a bit of a splay going on. Lately though, I'm trying out not really pressing very much at all, and letting a little bit of the soap stay on the bottom instead of, see, if you press hard, it pushes the soap out to the sides. I'm experimenting with just kind of letting the brush rest on the bottom and not really pushing down and splaying while I'm mixing. Just seeing if that gives me a good mixing action instead of having to constantly come up on the walls and bring that down and all that stuff. Well, it sure looks nice, as this lather always does. Holding its shape pretty well. Nice and slick. Well, we just go ahead and use this one. Looks like it's enough lather to do the job, so I think we're good. All right, a little water on my face. A little bit less than 24 hours since my last shave. Now, sometimes the lather looks really good, but then I get it on my face and I realize I haven't put enough soap in it. This one isn't doing that dry thing like the other one, so pretty good. You don't actually need big old Santa's beard. Also, when you're doing this scrubbing motion, this V5 feels great. Doesn't really push my skin around too much. It's lofted high enough. When you're doing this scrubbing motion, look, it's not very thick right there, and that's normal, and it's kind of normal to have kind of an empty space in your brush there, as long as you have the soap on the outside. Because right now we're just working and cleaning the skin, scrubbing the soap to address the oils that might be on your skin. Not really doing any exfoliation. That's for the razor to do. Almost all brushes are not scratchy enough to actually exfoliate, even the really scratchy ones. Now, we switch. Painting strokes. That's when that soap on the side starts to come into play, and it starts to look like what you might be expecting in terms of the lather. If it's all clumpy, then sometimes that means your lather is too dry. You need a little bit of water. Some soaps just always look like that. And of course, that's for kind of my preference of kind of creaminess and slickness. All right, yours may be different. Maybe you like it clumpy and kind of dryish. But I'll warn you, sometimes the dry lather doesn't latch onto your skin very well to protect it. You can help that sometimes by just giving yourself a little bit extra time working that lather in. All right, here we go with the V3A. V3, like I told you, version 3. V2 is pretty good, but everybody's saying the V3 is even better, and A meaning aggressive. To me, it's not all that aggressive. Let's see how it feels right now. It feels great. It doesn't feel very aggressive at all. And this is with a blade that's, 16 uses old or something like that. Some people definitely would have thrown this blade away by now. It's not too vocal. It's not being too noisy. And also we've got a good lather here. It might be more rough feeling if you did not have a nice wet protective lather. But this feels great. I could definitely use this every day because it's got a nice feel to it. Doesn't feel too aggressive. Of course, we'll wait and see how it feels on the third pass. Every once in a while, you'll get a razor head that has enough aggression to seem fine, but then it's a buildup of irritation or tenderness that you feel at the end. And rinse. All right, second pass. Your typical barrister and man puck, stick of Arco, looking maybe 3 months. If you load heavy, it might just be 2 months. Puck of fine accoutrements for $12.50 is a nice hard soap as well, and you should get more uses than that from it. Whereas this guy, you might be looking at 6 months of uses. And that might be a conservative figure. I wouldn't mind doing a test on this one and weigh it before use. I should have weighed it before today, but I kind of picked it without thinking. I saw it on top of my pile. I saw it recently and I said, hey, I want to shave with that one. I recommend it so much that I want to make sure there are several shaves with it on my YouTube channel so that people can have good resources. Even if I flop up the lather, then that can still be a learning experience, especially for me, but also for people watching, so they can see if I recover the lather, then they can obviously increase their skills at doing the same thing when they mess up. Good feels on this razor. It's you feel it cutting, you feel the blade, but this is a nice sharp blade, and so it feels very controlled. I'll bet I could give myself some razor burn if I went the wrong direction, or if I didn't maybe stretch a wrinkly area too much, so I should be careful, but it's a nice efficient razor that I don't think is too aggressive for a lot of people, which is great. Now I'm going to guess that 45-second load that I did, combined with the probably 3 teaspoons of water that I added, is a ratio that you would not want to go wetter on. Next time I might reduce the water a little bit. Looks like I'm going to have plenty of soap to do the job. Looks like I'm going to have 4, maybe 5 passes of lather, which is nice. And this brush feels terrific, one of my favorites. And I'm doing this scrubbing motion just to kind of feel the brush. I like to feel that. You can immediately start with the painting motions, really, because you've already done the scrubbing on the first pass. Very good. Trimmed up my sideburns, so they're a little higher than usual, and so that's tripping me up a little bit. This is actually the first shave I've done with addressing those. I need to do a little bit more trimming on those. I'm not feeling any irritation because of this razor head. I don't have iron skin at all. It does get irritated if I go against the grain, for instance. I'm getting nice slick movement from the razor, and caused by the soap, a nice slick layer of soap. This is a wet lather for sure. I could back off on the water a little bit and it would be just fine. Maybe a little bit of a creamier feel. And there we go, 3 passes. I'm pretty sure, yeah, terrific results there. Even in my trouble spot. A little swirly area on my neck right here. Looks great. I don't even think I see any length on any tips, maybe one. All right, full rinse. And this balm I have, it's one of the few that I have that's matching. Well, still got a little soap in my ear there. So, lather is not really luxurious, but it's very serviceable, very slick, and does the job. Lays down a nice protective layer on your skin. It protects your skin well during the shave, and it smells good to me. And it's a really good money saving tool because a little bit lasts a long way. Balm's probably average in terms of cost effectiveness, but the soap is very nice. So yeah, nice close shave. So I think most people are going to be really happy with this head. I'm sorry I can't remember the user's name who requested it, otherwise I'd throw a shout out to you. But this is the V3A from Maggard, and this is the gray finish. Like I said, the handle is stainless steel, and even if I'm going to use the same blade the next day, since this is a Zamac razor or pot metal, it's plated, but inside it's pot metal, and so I will just want to get that water out of there. So I will let the blade fall out of the top of the cap there, and just put it on my little hand towel. Just kind of pat it dry, not be too crazy about it. Sorry, I'm off camera there. And so now these guys are ready to go. Back on the handle. And a great thing about Maggard's is that this is a nice stainless steel handle for about 15 bucks, I think. And you can get other ones, other shapes and sizes that match really well to a bunch of different heads. So I really like that selection. So the silver blue is this was its 13th use, performing really well. This is not one that I'm going to marathon. I've got another one that's maybe 35 uses or so that I'm marathoning. This is my one that I bring in for cases like this, where I want to evaluate a head or present it in a more objective manner. Because if I were to put a 35 use blade on a head and not get a good shave, then do I know it's the blade or is it the razor? So let's eliminate those variables. So here is the lather that we had. 2 passes there probably. And like I said, probably about 3 teaspoons of water used and 45-second load time on a puck that had been soaked for a minute, maybe 2. So this is the Declaration B5. I just kind of slung it out. I haven't dried it on the towel yet. What I love about this one is the amount of whiteness that you can see right here. That means it's lofted a little higher than usual for the B5s. And for me, that means it gives more openness, more ease of splay as I'm moving it around on my face. And that's very valuable to me. And plus, it just happened to come on this really attractive handle. I do like the bulby part down here to be a little bit bigger than this, but it's still ergonomically comfort, even though visually it may look a little bit weird, but I'll bet I'm gonna get over that because it's rare to find a B5 that's this comfortable with this right loft that I'm getting right here. So I got a feeling I'm gonna keep this guy around. All right, the place is all cleaned up, and it's just, this shave was proof that an enjoyable and effective, efficient, and close shave can happen without too much expense. This razor head and the handle is like 25 bucks at Maggard. Yaki has kind of this same head or close to it. I mean, visually it looks exactly the same. And it's got inexpensive razors as well. And so do you need to go out and spend $100 on a razor to get a good shave, comfortable shave? And if you take care of it, a razor that can last 20 years, then no, you can take up this kind of razor. Maybe save your pennies and then get a premium one later on if you are still into the hobby, you know. Enjoyable, smoky, spicy, maybe not smoky, but just kind of warm, spicy. That's just a really good description of this scent, and the balm's going to carry it on with me, and I really enjoy that. Maybe a touch of like leather or wood or musk or oud or something. I don't know for sure what it is. There's nothing objectionable in it for me. I just really like it, and that it's such a good price point is tremendous as well. So yeah, we're good. The GSB is still kicking. Maybe when it gets to 15, I'll throw it away and bring in another one for my kind of demo shaves where I'm trying a new razor. But nice close shave, no irritation at all. Face feels great. So it's a good piece of machinery. All right, now this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Hope there was something here for you. You take care.